and welcome viewers. Let's dive straight into the top stories at this hour on Republic Superfast 50. A day after Eknath Shinde took oath as Chief Minister of Maharashtra, there are key issues to be taken up at the Maharashtra Legislative Assembly. While the Speaker's election will be held on Sunday, July the 3rd, the trust vote where Shinde will establish his majority will take place on Monday, July the 4th. The earlier time for the trust vote, that is Saturday, has been postponed now. In another setback for Uddhav Thackeray, the Supreme Court refused to grant an urgent hearing on Shiv Sena Chief Whip Sunil Prabhu's fresh application. Prabhu had moved the apex court seeking the interim suspension of rebel Shiv Sena MLAs until the final adjudication of the disqualification proceedings against them. In a key development, the Income Tax Department has sent a notice to NCP Chief Sharad Pawar in connection with his poll affidavits filed in 2004, 2009, 2014 and 2020. NCP Chief Sharad Pawar has decried the purported misuse of central investigative agencies. With the question arising as to how the Uddhav camp has taken to Eknath Shinde still being a part of the party as he is sworn in as the Chief Minister, Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut mentioned how the new CM will be in his chair till he claims that he is from the Shiv Sena, raising speculations of whether the Uddhav camp will support Eknath Shinde as Chief Minister now.
एकनाथ शिंदे खुद को आज भी शिवसेना का ही कह रहे हैं, खुद को शिवसेना ही कह रहे हैं। अगर वो विहिप निकालते हैं तो क्या
जब तक वो खुद को शिवसेना का ही कहेंगे तब तक उनको मुख्यमंत्री पद पर रखा जाएगा।
According to sources, viewers, the new Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde has reached out to the Maharashtra Navnirman Sena's chief Raj Thackeray and has offered the MNS 2 berths in the new cabinet that is to be formed over the coming days. A high alert has been sounded in Uttar Pradesh's Saharanpur over 2 traders receiving threats of being murdered in the manner in which Kanhaiya Lal was brutally killed in Udaipur. An investigation is underway in connection with the same. The Delhi High Court is scheduled to hear the plea of the co-founder of Alt News, Mohammad ZUBAIR, against a 4-day police remand at the Delhi Police's special cell. Also in Delhi, the Rouse Avenue District Court, in connection with allegations of money laundering against former Aam Aadmi Party Minister Satyendar Jain, rejected his bail application, citing the former minister's influential position. The court stated that Satyendar Jain's position could have helped him in tampering with the evidence and that the court could not consider his claim of illness to be satisfactory for the bail. The DRDO has successfully conducted the maiden flight test of the autonomous wing flying technology demonstrator, a Bayraktar-style drone from the Chitradurga Aeronautical Test Range in Karnataka. Union Defence Minister Rajnath Singh congratulated the organization for a successful flight of the indigenous UAV. Movement of tourist vehicles has been restricted towards the valley in Jammu and Kashmir during the course of the AMARNATH YATRA over security concerns. While tourist vehicles are not allowed to move beyond Ramban from 1:30 p.m., the vehicles are not allowed beyond the Navyug tunnel from 3:30 p.m. The Rajasthan police has arrested 2 more suspects in the Kanhaiya Lal murder case, taking the total number of arrests to 4 so far. The first 2 arrested have been taken and sent to judicial custody for 14 days.
Have been taken up in this case by the IO, and hopefully further details will be, I think, diverged once the NIA team takes over the investigation.
A big disclosure in the Kanhaiya Lal murder case in Udaipur has come about. According to sources, Ghaus Muhammad, accused of murder, was in contact with Pakistani handlers Salman Haidar and Abu Ibrahim. According to sources, Zakir Naik's speeches and Talibani videos were also used by the accused for research. After protests erupted in several areas of Rajasthan against the gory beheading of Udaipur tailor Kanhaiya Lal, Ashok Gehlot's government has sprung into action now and has ordered the transfers of all senior police officials. The NIA is likely to also seek the custody of Riaz Akhtari and Ghaus Muhammad, the accused in the Kanhaiya Lal beheading case, so that it can begin its own questioning as a part of the case registered against them. The NIA is formally taking over the case today after registering a FIR yesterday. The NIA has made big headway in the Udaipur beheading. Meanwhile, the central agency found a group on social media which is allegedly involved in terror activities. The NIA is probing and working more on the leads to further this investigation. The two men who are accused of beheading the tailor in Udaipur were brought to Ajmer's high security jail. The Rajasthan police said that the main accused involved in the killing of Kanhaiya Lal, the tailor from Udaipur, were in touch with Pakistani-based organization Dawat-e-Islami. The Supreme Court refused to entertain NUPUR Sharma's plea of transfer of all cases against her to one court and blamed her solely for sparking communal tensions across the country. The apex court slammed former BJP spokesperson Nupur Sharma, who made remarks in a televised debate. The Supreme Court blamed Nupur Sharma and held her responsible for the ensuing protests across the nation. Samajwadi Party patron Mulayam Singh Yadav's relative and BJP leader and former MLA Hari Om Yadav gave a big statement on the defeat of the Samajwadi Party in its bastions Rampur and Azamgarh in the Lok Sabha by-polls. He said that the Samajwadi Party National General Secretary Professor Ramgopal Yadav is the Shakuni in the SP who has ended the SP party, and that because of him Akhilesh Yadav as well has no future. Home Minister Amit Shah is to inaugurate the administrative building of the Sri Swaminarayan University and will lay the foundation stone of 750-bed hospital, that is the PSM hospital, at the Sri Swaminarayan Vishwamangal Gurukul in Gandhinagar of Gujarat. ADG Jammu Mukesh Singh reached Ramban district to review the ongoing Amarnath Yatra. Arrangements are in place as well as security has been reviewed. He also took stock of the movement of the Yatra amid heavy rainfall, which can trigger landslides on the national highway. Two hybrid terrorists were arrested by a team of Srinagar police in Jammu and Kashmir's capital Srinagar. Both of the terrorists were intercepted at a checkpoint at Chinar crossing after they established and exhibited suspicious behavior and attempted to flee from the spot. Assam's Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma has filed a criminal defamation case against Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi Manish Sisodia over the latter's allegations of bribery and corruption against Himanta Biswa Sarma's wife. The case has been filed at the Chief Judicial Magistrates Court in Kamrup. This is the second case filed against Sisodia after Riniki Bhuyan Sarma, Himanta Biswa Sarma's wife, criminal defamation case. In a tragic and ongoing incident, 14 people have been killed and 72 others are missing after a massive landslide occurred at a railway construction site in Manipur's None district. According to district officials, rescue operations are underway for the second day in an effort to search for and rescue those who are feared trapped under the debris. The Aam Aadmi Party government in Punjab presented its first budget, wherein the Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann-led dispensation announced that it would provide 300 units of free electricity to the households from today. The Mann government also announced a focus on setting up of Mohalla clinics and the upgradation of the state's Board of Education in Punjab. Congress's General Secretary Jairam Ramesh, who has taken over Congress's communications from Randeep Singh Surjewala, attacked the BJP for unseating the Mahavikas Aghadi government in Maharashtra and accused the BJP of capturing power unethically by the use of money and muscle power. Former Punjab Chief Minister Captain Amarinder Singh is likely to merge his party, the Punjab Lok Congress, into the BJP. Captain Amarinder will take a final call on his return from London, that is next week. Amarinder Singh had formed the new political party, the Punjab Lok Congress, after he quit the Congress party right before the Punjab elections. In a big snub to Uddhav Thackeray, the Eknath Shinde-led government has decided to shift the Mumbai Metro 3-car shed back to RA Colony, we are told. Thackeray had announced that the car shed would be shifted to Kanjunmarg in Mumbai, and this had become a point of contention between the BJP and Shiv Sena at the time. Actor-producer Vijay Babu appeared before probe officials for a fifth consecutive day in Ernakulam town South Police Station for interrogation in connection with a sexual assault case registered against him. He is appearing before probe officials as per the directions of the Kerala High Court. AIADMK leader Edapadi K. Palaniswamy bluntly told his rival and former Deputy Chief Minister O. Pannirselvam that he is not the party's coordinator anymore and slammed him for trying to scuttle the June 23 General Council meeting convened by both the leaders together at the time. The Lok Sabha Secretariat has announced that the 9th session of the 17th and current Lok Sabha, the monsoon session, will commence on July the 18th and will conclude likely by August the 12th. The monsoon session generally starts in the third week of July and concludes ahead of Independence Day. This time, the monsoon session will have 18 sittings. In the United States, gunfire erupted on a street in New York, just outside New York City on Thursday evening, injuring as many as 9 people. Police officers responded to the incident because of an alert from a gunshot detection system. The injured are being treated in the Civic Hospital, and according to the police officials, the probe is underway. The mayor of Uvalde, the Texan city where the horrific mass shooting took place at the Robb Elementary School, faced hard questions at a city council meeting from families of the victims. 19 children and 2 teachers were killed on May the 24th when an 18-year-old gunman wielding military-style rifles burst into their classrooms and started shooting wantonly. Ecuador's government and the country's main indigenous group have reached an agreement to end 18 days of often violent strikes that had virtually paralyzed the country and killed at least 4 people. US President Joe Biden returned to the White House as he concluded a 5-day visit to Europe that highlighted the key US role in mounting a strong allied response to Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson dismissed threats by Russia's President Vladimir Putin of a possible nuclear strike over Ukraine as saber-rattling. He later described the war in Ukraine as a wanton, illegal, unprovoked, active aggression against a sovereign, independent country. French President Emmanuel Macron has urged world leaders to protect the planet's oceans by adopting an international agreement modeled on the legally binding Paris Climate Accords. Macron traveled to Portugal after attending a NATO summit in neighboring Spain's Madrid to make a speech at the UN Ocean Conference in Lisbon. Abortion rights activists held a demonstration in front of the US ambassador to Argentina's residence in Buenos Aires. They voiced their concerns about the US Supreme Court's decision in overturning Roe v. Wade, the case that stripped away women's constitutional protections for abortion. US Special Representative for Commerce and Business Affairs, Dilawar Saeed, is all set to visit India, Bangladesh and Pakistan to build commercial and economic ties in the Indian subcontinent. Chinese President Xi Jinping officiated the swearing-in ceremony of Hong Kong's new leader John Lee on Friday as the city marked the 25th anniversary of its return to Chinese rule after being pulled in recent years under much tighter Communist Party controls. The Greek government and tourism industry officials said that they were confident of an increase in the number of visiting tourists now that the pandemic-related restrictions have effectively been lifted. Many of the visitors who arrived in Athens said that they were pleased to be able to travel again after COVID-19 measures had eased. Yair Lapid officially became the 14th Prime Minister of Israel at the stroke of midnight between Thursday and Friday. Lapid, a veteran journalist who served as an alternate PM in the now dismantled coalition, vowed to do the best he can for the state of Israel. In another major hike, the fuel prices have again been increased in Pakistan by a massive margin, this for the 5th time within just a month. Apart from petrol and high-speed diesel, kerosene and light-speed diesel prices have also been increased in the announcement. Meanwhile, in Kabul, the Taliban government has increased the price of coal by 130% after Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif approved importing coal from Afghanistan. The Ministry of Finance of Afghanistan raised the price of coal from $90 per ton to $200 per ton due to the increase in coal prices in markets worldwide. The All India Senior Selection Committee for Cricket has picked the squads for the 3-match T20 and ODI series against England, which will be played after the 5th Test match that is now ongoing. Rohit Sharma will be leading the side in both the series. Star Indian shuttler PV Sindhu registered a stunning comeback win against her Thai opponent Chaiwan to reach the quarterfinals of the Malaysia Open tournament. She pulled off a stunning win in 3 hard-fought sets to reach the quarterfinals. Brushing aside speculations about his retirement from tennis, 2-time Wimbledon champion Andy Murray stated that if his body permitted, he would make a return to the All England Tennis Club. Murray was beaten in the second round by the ruthless power of John Isner after a thrilling 4-set match. Coco Gauff has reached the 3rd round of the women's singles at Wimbledon with a win over her Romanian opponent Mihaela Buzămescu. The 11th-seeded American will face fellow American Amanda Anisimova in the 3rd round. Tottenham Hotspur are close to completing the capture of Richarlison after agreeing to a deal with Everton. The 25-year-old Brazil forward is expected to undergo a medical overseas as the North London team bid to wrap up a transfer that could top $60 million. And Olympic gold medalist and India's pride Neeraj Chopra set a new national record with a throw of 89.94 meters as he finished with the silver medal at the Stockholm Diamond League.